It's this is video number 6, and it's day 10 of my living in Kyiv. There is a lot to cover, and as always, very little time, so I'll try to be as succinct, as brief as possible. First of all, as you can see, I changed my place for recording, reorganized the room a little, and for better light purposes, I realized that I can make use of my bulletproof curtain here, so thoughtfully provided by the armed forces of Ukraine. Just kidding, of course. Um, but I do have curtains, and they work. Um, I suspect to some, now that I think about it, I suspect that to some degree they might even offer some protection against some possible pieces of shards of glass that might be blown inside by a possible explosion outside. Haven't thought about it. As I mentioned in one of the first videos, everybody here uses duct tape on the glass for this exact purpose, in case they get blown in by the explosions. Now, since 3 months ago, until the 6th of December, there had been a somewhat peaceful, quiet period of time here in Kyiv regarding bombings and air raids. Nobody suspected that the Russians would not take advantage of the holiday of Saint Nicholas to resume their bombings, because this is the way that they are. This is the way the Russian mentality is built. Let's try to, if we perceive somebody as our enemy, we build enemies in our imagination. We build up their negative image, and then we can call them our enemies. And then we might not be able to defeat them, but we'll do our bloody best to bring as much misery and suffering as we can through any means possible, even if we can't defeat them in combat. So let's attack them on St. Nicholas Day, let's attack on Christmas, let's attack on New Year's Eve, let's attack on Halloween night, let's attack on the 24th of February to celebrate our own invasion. You know, good old Russian culture. So they resumed these bombings. For the past, then, 2 days ago, we had one at 4 a.m. The one that I talked about in my previous video. You can't hear the air raid alarm in such cases because they use high velocity missiles, so they have about a few minutes of flight time from their point of origin to their destination. There's not enough time to raise the alarm, and the armed forces of Ukraine simply focus on shooting them down, and they are in almost all cases they are successful, but there's just not enough time to raise the alarm. So usually the alarm is raised after the fact, and it only is kept on for a few minutes, and then to make sure there's no more missiles incoming, and then they turn it off, because they want to do their best to try to get people to shelter in case there's a longer bombing run. But of course, the Russians, they also take advantage of this psychological effect, and they only have short runs. So by the time the air raid alarm starts functioning, starts working, the air raid is finished anyway. just to interrupt, to do best, to do the best to be disruptive, and to keep people up during the night, and to cause as much misery and suffering as humanly possible, because they know the relative response time of both the air raid alarms and how much, on average, how much it takes people to get into shelters. So after this, they stop. They stop the bombing because they realize that efficiency drops after the first few minutes. So instead of having longer bombing runs, they just repeat. So this is what happened 2 days ago at 4 a.m. Um, there wasn't any air raid alarm after this. There wasn't one last night. Um, However, I don't think this will last. Simply because it's the holidays. Now, there are other things that we should talk about. I said in my previous video that I'm hoping not to come down with a cold. I did, so I'm a little bit under the weather, but I will continue to do my best, and I will uphold my promise of uploading a daily digest, a daily journal entry of my activity here and my everything that I experience here. I also started an AMA, and Ask Me Anything, on Reddit with the help of one of my fellow teachers. She doesn't want me to say her name, but